control your mind, you will succeed. Hi, my friends. So that was a clip from a address that I made to one of the local schools here in Rustenburg, Rawan and Sibeng. And if you enjoyed that little bit, I believe that you'll be encouraged and challenged to rise to the occasion. This doesn't just go out to the class of 2021, but to anyone at any time and in every season who needs to rise to the occasion. I hope you enjoy it. Take care. Bye-bye. Everything you have done to bring these young people to this point. I'm sure it hasn't been easy, but I thank you. My name is Palesa Mbuga. A lot of the times when they hear this surname, people say, whoo, man, what do they say? Mambunga. Instead of just straight Mbuga, M-B-U-G. I am Palesa Mbuga. I grew up here in Rustenburg, and by the will and the grace of God, I find myself here, and you find yourself here. You see, this is 2021, and we are not where we used to be, or we are not where maybe we wanted to be. Maybe right now you would have been happy being at home, just waking up at this time. Maybe you wish that you were in a previous grade. Maybe during the holidays you were somewhere and you want to be there, but no, you are here right now. You are not where you want to be in the future. You're not yet in university. You have not yet started your business. You have not yet started your family. You are here. So now I am asking you that as we continue in the program and with what I have to say, that you would please listen and let your mind and your heart be where your feet are, which is here. Thank you. Now, the reason I say this is at one point in time I was in your situation. Not in a hall like this, but I remember a time when I was in Matric many years ago. And I was sitting, no, seriously, it's been over a decade. Oh yeah, no shame. I have been around for longer than I look. But I was in class, in maths class to be specific. I can take you to the desk I was sitting on, because I remember it so clearly. And my maths teacher was teaching. I don't know, like, yo guys, she was teaching about this theme in maths called linear programming. But my mind was not where my feet were. I was looking out the window, thinking about different things, and then there came a test, which followed another test, which followed an exam. And at each of every test that came after, my mind wandering. And even at that exam, prelim and final included, every time the question here, linear programming, came up, I had to skip it. Because my mind and my heart were not where my feet were. Now, young people, that is how life is. In life, there is a series of lessons we learn in school and outside of school. These lessons, they include things like you are important. Your thoughts are important. Young girl, young woman, you are beautiful. You can do anything you put your mind to. You are not too young to start that business. Don't listen to what they say. You don't have to please them. But unfortunately, what happens is because when the lesson is taught, our mind and our hearts are not where our feet are. We miss the lesson and we find ourselves in a place called here. Now right now, I don't know what your story is. I don't know how things are going, because we all know that sometimes that affects how we perform in the classroom. When it's hectic at home, when there are things you want to do, when you are crushed, when you lost a loved one. But that is exactly why I believe God has allowed me to be here and stand in front of you. You see, there is one message that I have for you. One. Not many. Just one. And it is summed up by a phrase and a sentence. And the phrase is, I don't know if you've heard this speech before. If you have, great. If you haven't, awesome. The phrase is rise to the occasion. You see, young people, we all know what a struggle is. We can all relate when someone says, yo, Kunzi. When you read on social media, hashtag, oh, struggle is real. We have all, at one level or another, experienced some type of challenge. Whether it is a personal challenge that no one knows that you're struggling with in your mind and you're fighting with these emotions and with this anger, but no one knows. Whether it is an addiction, you are struggling. You know this thing is affecting you and you know, but you are struggling, but no one knows. Maybe it's things at home that you come to school, you look good, you make sure you're all dressed up, but there is a challenge. Some of us, we lost loved ones and it hasn't been easy and we have had to face the challenge. But what I have to say to us today is rise to the occasion. I'm pretty sure that we know the word rise, R-I-S-E, and what that means. You know, rising, when you look it up in the dictionary, it speaks of moving from one level to another level. And just by virtue of us having spent 12 years, 12 whole years every day, day in, day out, Monday to Friday, going to school, we believe that it is a process that leads to our rising. As we learn more and we go to varsity or start our businesses or go and start working, we believe that we have gone through a process so that we can rise. But that is not what I'm talking about. I'm not here to tell us and encourage us and motivate us just to rise. No. I am calling us to rise to the occasion. Now, what does rise to the occasion mean? Usually when this phrase is being put, it means, let me get the dictionary meaning so that I don't say things that are not. To rise to the occasion means to make the special effort that is required to successfully deal with a difficult situation. Another meaning of the word rise, the phrase rise to the occasion, is to do whatever is necessary to successfully overcome a difficult situation. In other words, what this means is we do what we have to do because we know that there is a challenge that is facing us. We do what we have to do. We are all living in South Africa. We all know this thing called Eskom. We all know sometimes in Tlhabane, the electricity goes for such a long time. Sometimes even during the time when we know we have to study. What does that mean? It means we make sure that we have those solar panel lamps or we have candles. When I study, because I'm still studying, I think I'll always study because I enjoy it. But when the electricity goes at my place, what do? I have candles and I put them around me. Why? Because we do whatever is necessary to overcome the the situation. Are we together? Class of 2021. I want to share with you a story, an account of 12 people. 12 people who were like you and me. 12 people who were moving from one point to another point. They had come out of a difficult, challenging situation, and there was a possibility that they were going to step into a better life. There was a possibility that they were going to step into more, where they could be more and get more and have more than their parents and their parents' parents, just like you. There is a possibility that you could be the change maker in your family. That 70 years from now, the children who have not yet been born, your children's children, they will call you by name and say, Ish, my great-great-grandmother, yo, I think she did the most. When she finished her studies, she did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it changed our family. That could be you. And those people were in the same situation where they were going to step into what could be more. So now, because this account is from ancient times, so it's not modern times. There were no phones, no cars, not even tractors, they had chariots. So what these 12 people were required to do is they were supposed to step into the land. You know, back in the day, way back then, they used to conquer land. We know that, right? One tribe or one people group would go and conquer land and establish themselves there. So it was that situation. So then they went, they saw the land, they were like, okay, it's nice, it's great, it's awesome. And then they came back and they were telling their leaders what the situation was. They're like, okay, it's good, we can have beautiful homes, we can have fruits, we can have beautiful farms, but it's too much for us. We can't do it. We are too small. Do you remember what we've gone through? Do you remember how things were just 40 years ago? Are you telling me that me, with my challenge, with my insecurity, that we can do this? But then the account goes on to tell us that out of those 12, there were 2 people, 2 young, well, they're not too young, but 2 men. And they said their words, we are told, is, let's go at once to take the land. We can certainly conquer it. Today we will be celebrating some young people who have done well academically, and they'll be getting some awards, and we'll be celebrating them. But the truth of the matter is the majority of us, I mean, there are only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 about awards that I see there. But the majority of us will not get an award. But that does not mean, young people, that the exam, the life after exam, the desire to enter into that career, the desire to start that business, the desire to travel the world and see all the cultures, it does not mean that it is not your story. But we, you, I, me, us, we have to make up our minds to rise to the occasion, to rise above every challenge. Right now your challenge is matric exams, but your challenges won't end. All the adults here, we all have our own challenges, and we are still required and needed to rise above the occasion. I don't know if you can see what's in here. Can you see? They are, I'll show them to you. Eggs, right? You see them, right? Now, I'm speaking about rising to the occasion, how we must rise in a certain way. Now, I know that you are not in grade 1, neither are you in grade 5, or even grade 10. You are all in Matric, the class of 2021. But I'm asking you to please humor me And can we together spell the word rise? 1, 2, 3, let's go. It's R-I-S-E. And what I want to leave with us today is about how we are going to rise and how we need to have 4 steps, 4 things to rise. The first one starts with an R, and that is resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back up. You know, unfortunately, and it's so sad, unfortunately, let me first say this. I know a young man, he was in the class of 2020, and he was speaking. We had a prayer for matrics yesterday at our church. We were praying for you guys. And this young man, he was speaking, and he finished his studies he was living with his mother and his grandmother. And a few days before he was supposed to receive his results, his grandmother passed away. And then on the day that his grandmother was being buried, his mother passed away. And I had to watch this young man, fresh out of high school, having to choose to be resilient, to bounce back up when all the odds were against him. Similar to eggs, because we're fragile. We go through things, and sometimes we break and we cannot get up. Now I have this egg over here. We all know what is going to happen if I drop it in, right? Okay, let's see if it's broken, unable to be used, only necessary to be thrown away. Now in the challenges of life, the challenge of matric, the challenges of life after matric, you have the opportunity and the choice to be like this egg. That when the going gets tough, are you going to break down, start blaming everything and everyone instead of rising to the occasion? Then I have this egg. Now this egg, I'm giving you some inside information. This egg was boiled by moi this morning. Now, we know that even if, I'm not sure if it was boiled properly, maybe not roasted. Must I just try it? Okay, I've got permission. So now here's this egg. I'm gonna drop it. Hopefully it is well boiled. Okay, it was partially boiled. We'll have to clean it up. I'm gonna clean it now. But had it been boiled, we know that it was just going to land and the outside being broken a little bit. We know that, right? Now, in the face of tough times, that's the other option that you and I have. Because sometimes when the going gets tough, we harden ourselves and we tell ourselves, no one is going to hurt me like that again. I am never going to go to that place to hear that voice because they know what they did to me. It is tough. I am never once again. This thing called school is not for me. This thing called studying is not for me. I struggled in grade 8, grade 9, grade 10. Now I'm just finishing because I want to give my mother that certificate. But this studying thing is not for me. What happened then is we hardened ourselves and we allowed the outside situation to determine how we are. Young people, that is not being resilient. The other option is here, this egg. It looks like every other egg. It can go through what every other egg will go through, but it's not the same. I don't know where it's going to go, but just watch this. It bounces back up. Now, young people, I rise above. So that's the R. The next thing is I. The I in the rise is inspired. We need to be inspired people. Because there's a difference between inspiration and motivation. Motivation is what I have come here to do, to motivate you. To get you all shook and say, yes, we can do it. Yes, I will rise. But to rise above the occasion doesn't need motivation, it needs inspiration. Where now you decide from inside of you that you will be inspired. You don't need your parents, you don't need your teachers, you don't need the economy, you don't need the government, you don't need anyone to push you because you will push yourself. You are inspired. R, resilience. I, inspired. S, now this one might sound some type of way, but we need to be stubborn. Not the stubborn that like hinders us, but we need to be stubborn where we say that no matter I don't care what they say. My life may be tough, but I will rise. Because one thing that many times they don't talk about this enough, that in one way or the other the odds are against us. I have seen some of these students who go to certain schools, who come from certain families, who haven't had certain challenges that we have had to go through ourselves. But we need to be stubborn to say that no matter what they say, no matter how they feel, even if I cannot do well in these matric exams, I'll do my best, I will do my best. But that you can try and push it and it will not move. You can try and pull it and it will not move. And my heart, my desire, my prayer, my wish for every single one here, young and old, is that when life pushes you, when the stress comes on you, when you hear the voices, you make up your mind that you will not be moved, you will not be influenced, you will not change your mind. You will succeed. Okay, now the last thing, R-I-S-E. The E in rise is to be expectant. You know, sometimes I'm speaking from experience, I'm speaking from talking to young people. I stand in front of young people like yourselves every week, every single week. This is what I do, this is what I love to do. And I have seen how young people go through things and they lose hope. You know, one of the reasons why suicide is high and increasing is because we lose hope. We don't see how things can change. We don't see how we can have a future. But in order to rise above every occasion, every challenge, we need to expect the best. Because the best will come to all who expect it. The best will happen to all who expect it. Because if you don't expect it, what ends up happening, young person? Because you expect the bad, you're like, oh, I come from this family, oh, these things always happen to the people in my family, oh, things are always like that. Because you are expecting the bad, you start looking for signs. For when the bad will come, you say, oh, I knew it was going to happen. Oh, I knew it was going, I knew she was going to say that. Oh, I knew, because you were expecting are bad. It's high time that we become people who expect the good. Expect yourself to surprise yourself. Expect yourself to make your parents proud. Expect it. When you look at the future you, let it be a you that you are proud of. And with your stubborn attitude that you will make it there. With your inspired self, where you are like, you don't need anyone to motivate you, you will do it. And with your resilience, you will rise above the occasion. So class of 2021, I want to leave you with two things. The first thing is this. Me, myself, and I, Palesa Mbuga, I want to let you know that I believe in you. Some of us have not had many people say it to us, but I don't know your name, I don't know your story, I don't know what has happened, I don't know your tragedies, I don't know your victories. I believe in you. Know that I, together with your principals and your teachers and your parents, believe in you. So believe in yourself too. Lastly, there's a song called Rise Up by Andra Day. I'm just going to read the chorus for you. And I encourage you to check it out. Andra Day. It's called Rise Up. And this is how the lyrics go. They say, and I'll rise up. I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up. I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up and I will do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up high like the waves. I'll rise up in spite of the ache. I'll rise up and I will do it 1,000 times again. Class of 2021, with the exams ahead of you, I charge and call you to rise above the occasion. Thank you.